Good afternoon. I'm Danielle Schenk in the 1011 Now Alert Center with this week's Crime Stoppers. So joining me today is Jared Minary with the Lincoln Police Department. How's it going today?
Good afternoon. Doing well. Doing well.
Yeah, finally going to see some rain out there and see some sprinkles. Cement looks wet.
Yeah, I know we need it in Nebraska. Not my favorite day of the year, but I know we need it. So
Yeah,
it's good to have it.
It makes you, definitely the weather where you want to curl up and just watch a movie,
Yeah.
maybe drink a nice warm beverage, but alas, we have to work. No April.
Here we are.
No April Fools for us here. Here we are.
Maybe we are the fools. We're here.
Yes. All right. So we have a couple of cases today that LPD needs your help with. Let's start with the assault case.
So this is back on Tuesday, January 27th, about 1:30 in the afternoon. We had someone that was riding the bus, and they're basically having a conversation with someone across the aisle. Just kind of a casual conversation. Doesn't sound like there's anything crazy going on the bus or anything. All of a sudden, a male on the bus just stands up and basically starts hitting this victim multiple times in the head. We think about 3 times officially in the head. And so we're just hoping that maybe somebody can help us pick this guy out, figure out who he is, maybe what was going on. We just don't know the story on why this person got so upset they went to punches. But we're hoping that somebody can say, I know this person here. So pretty violent attack.
Yeah, seemingly random too. And I mean, it seems like he was talking to someone else in this video, and then just all of a sudden, I don't know if maybe what he was saying angered the guy.
There's no mention that the talk that they were having could have been something that would have set somebody off, but you never know. Who knows? And maybe these two have some kind of past that something. Obviously, the victim doesn't know who it is, so it didn't lead us in any direction in the investigation. So we're just hoping somebody can see this video from the bus here and see that guy and be like, hey, I know that guy, and give us a tip so we can go talk to him.
Yeah. And
see if they need some kind of help or figure out what's going on officially with this.
Yeah, and the bright orange backpack surely stands out. Not many people have something like that.
Yep.
Do you know what Star Tran bus route or maybe bus number this was? Or?
I don't have that with me today, so I don't know which one that one is.
Or the stop. So do you know much about the suspect staying on after that?
No, they basically both got kicked off of the bus at this point. So the bus driver basically just said, everybody needs to get off. We don't want to have any of that on the bus. And so, of course, we get called after the fact. So, I mean, good and bad, at least we don't have that continuing on the bus. So in that case, everybody stay safe. But, of course, we lost both of them at that point, and then the victim called in later. So.
Yeah, and there wasn't much said or that you guys know of before
no,
the
it's
assault
kind of
happened?
interesting. That's what's so concerning in our opinion about this one, is that we don't know what exactly led up to this. So we're hoping that maybe somebody can fill in the blanks for us and tell us if there's a history between these two guys that somebody didn't want to talk about or something even. So
yeah. And looking at some of the pictures that you sent, this one almost looks like he might be grinning a little bit. So maybe he was thinking about it.
Yeah. I mean, maybe he was enjoying the conversation before he wasn't enjoying the conversation. So.
Who knows? Were there any injuries documented with
minor
this?
Injuries. Nobody went to the hospital or anything. So obviously, it's still pretty good punches that were being thrown there. So it had the potential to go pretty bad, but luckily the victim was okay.
And any other hoping witnesses? Well, maybe from the bus.
Obviously, we knew there were a
ride?
couple people on the bus talking to this individual across the way, but there may have been others. Don't know for sure on how many people were on the bus at the time, but if you happen to be on the bus, and maybe this is somebody that rides a bus commonly, maybe you can give us a tip on what route it is, even if that you don't know who they are.
And so he seems to have a mustache, wearing a gray hat amongst a beige coat. Just a lot of...
Yep. Some unique features. Obviously, that backpack's probably really going to be the biggest one. If he rides with that all the time, that really should set it off. Coats and backpacks are the kind of things that people carry every day. You don't usually change those. So hopefully that will be a really good key that, hey, I know who carries an orange backpack and wears a gray or a khaki-colored coat all the time.
Yeah.
Just
definitely something that sticks out, something you'll remember if you ever see him. And so if someone does recognize him, what should they do?
Obviously, you want to call Crime Stoppers if you want to stay anonymous or be eligible for any kind of cash reward. And, of course, you can always call the police department and talk to an officer on the case if you just want to give us the information and don't want to worry about going through Crime Stoppers. But if you do want to be anonymous and remain eligible for any kind of cash reward, you do have to go through Crime Stoppers, just to be clear on that. You can, of course, contact them in 3 ways. That's the phone number, 475-3600. You can go on LincolnCrimeStoppers.com, or, of course, my favorite, you can go and download that P3 app, which gives you a lot more ability to kind of follow up on your tips and keep in touch.
Yeah, absolutely. And so we'll move on here to our second case, a fleeing to avoid arrest.
Yeah, so basically the officers were on their usual patrol. They see a motorcycle that's headed westbound on O Street from 56 towards 48th Street. They turn around on it because it doesn't have any plates on it at all. So they catch up to about 48th Street. The officer activates their overhead lights to try to stop this motorcycle. At that point, that motorcycle just takes off, flees. He takes kind of an interesting route. He decides to go up a curb where there's a driveway there, kind of behind Chick-fil-A, where there's the little strip mall. And he goes up the curb, over the sidewalk, and he gets some air. Luckily, lands on both wheels, stays pretty much upright, is able to save the bike before he goes into the storefront. Kind of stops, regathers, and then he takes off through the parking lot, leaves through the Super Saver parking lot there eventually, and the officers at that point then lose him. And so we're just trying to figure out who this guy is and why he's running from the officers. It's a smaller motorcycle, it looks like.
Okay.
It's not like a full-size bike, but we don't really even know what it was. It's just kind of a darker colored bike. Even in the video going the opposite way, you just don't get a great look at the bike itself. But what is unique about this guy, he has that red backpack. So orange backpack on the previous guy, red backpack on this guy, blue shirt. He was wearing like a kind of like the ski mask, kind of balaclava, kind of head covering. So it's just the eyes and nose that are visible. No helmet, regardless of whether he's supposed to have one or not. He wasn't wearing one. And so, again, we would like to catch up with this person, probably give him a few citations for some of the stuff that happened here.
Yeah.
We know that the officers ran into him a little later that evening in a residential area, and he fled again. So he just doesn't want to be contacted, so we'd like to catch up with him when he's not on a motorcycle.
Yeah, and so this one happened somewhat recently compared to the bus attack that was back in January.
Yes, this was on March 21st at about 8 p.m., so obviously a little nicer weather than we have today.
Yeah.
But got all those motorcycles out, and they're just
Yeah.
sometimes you're just doing the things you shouldn't be doing on those motorcycles.
And dressed head to toe and still,
Yep.
in the ski mask and everything. So yeah, definitely didn't want to be recognized. But with the getaway, it sounded like he didn't damage his motorcycle at all with that
At least
crazy
not
antics.
enough to not be stuck there.
Yeah.
And obviously, the officers. There was two officers in the cruiser at the time. One of them tried to kind of pursue after them on foot. The other tried to get turned back around on O Street, which is difficult. So by the time they got a cruiser back around, the poor officer that was running on foot trying to chase a motorcycle through a parking lot was really kind of in a losing battle anyway. So of course he flies off through that parking lot. Luckily, you got Target, you got Super Saver, you got a lot of foot traffic in that area. So luckily nothing bad happened in that case. But that's kind of scary when you have somebody driving reckless through a parking lot.
Yeah.
You have a lot of pedestrians in.
Yeah, and so pretty short pursuit then.
I don't even know if I would go as far as say it was a pursuit, because they basically turned the lights on and he
just
almost crashed out, and then the officers got out to talk to him and he's gone. So they didn't really even move the car.
Yeah.
So,
it was just
wasn't really a
all of a
pursuit.
sudden gone.
Yes.
Okay. And so obviously additional charges going to be pursued for fleeing not once but twice now.
Yeah, we're going to probably have a flee to avoid arrest citation on this individual once we do find them, aside from anything else we find on it, like the motorcycle if it's not registered, or if the driver doesn't have a license or a motorcycle license, or suspended, any of those other kind of things that can fall in on a traffic stop. So there could be a lot of charges on this. Most of them are probably going to be smaller charges, mostly traffic offenses, but that flee to avoid arrest could easily be a criminal charge.
Yes. And so do you have any information about what neighborhood he was in when they found him a second time? Or maybe
it wasn't far from there. It was kind of I can't remember exactly now that I looked at it, but it wasn't far from here. I think they had an idea that which way he might have gone, kind of went into some residentials, but it didn't look like he even belonged in that residential. It looks more like he was probably just trying to lay low for a while until officers kind of rolled past. So
kind of north central Lincoln-ish area.
Yep.
Okay. And so what kind of specific tips are you guys looking for that might be most useful if witnesses in the area?
So obviously we have some witnesses in the area. We have all the people that are on O Street or in that parking lot. I mean, For the most part, I doubt that those people are probably going to give us a great tip, but you never know. Sometimes things happen. Maybe you saw this incident happen. You have some information for us. The big one is obviously who is it and where is this motorcycle? We would like to track all that down. Make sure that everything here is legal, on the up and up. Usually when people flee, it usually isn't. So more than likely, we're going to have a lot of charges on this individual once we do find that motorcycle and that owner. So.
And of course, this is one of many cases that the Lincoln Police Department is kind of tracking and looking for some information on. You can head over to Crime Stoppers to check out a few more in the area. Lots of thefts seem to pop up, burglary.
We do get a lot of thefts. A lot of them are more based on like shoplifts and things like that, but they get a sprinkling of all the cases we work. So you really want to see what's happening in Lincoln. This is a great way to do it. This is about the best images you're going to see of all the different cases we're putting out there. And so thankfully we have great partners like 1011 that help us share all this stuff to get it out to the public even more. So if it wasn't for that and it wasn't for all of our tipsters, we really wouldn't solve most of the cases we put on here, because usually typically by the time they reach our Crime Stoppers page, that means the officer's done their investigation and has basically run into a wall and going to solve the case for some reason. So when we get good tips on this, that actually breaks that case back open and can help us out on clearing a lot of cases.
Absolutely. And so the last time that you were here, we talked about some changes coming to Crime Stoppers.
Yep.
How's that going?
We are still in process of moving a couple things for the website. There will be some new website looks to this. You'll eventually have a different landing page that is actually the Crime Stoppers itself website, the actual organization. And then from there, you'll be able to go back to Lincoln Police's cases that we're looking for help on. So it'll be a little different. It's not totally enacted yet. There was a couple of delays on that. So I'm hoping by the next time you see me, maybe we'll have some updates on that. But
yeah, absolutely.
fingers
But
crossed.
nothing, it's just the website changing, nothing changing with like the P3 app or anything like that when you go to submit tips?
That'll all be the same. It's really just kind of a repositioning of where you're going to land when you first have that page.
Yeah, we just redesigned our app or launched a new app, and there's always some hiccups, and even here we're testing TikTok for the first time, so
Hi, TikTokers.
we're trying our best here, to reach the masses and do it in the best way possible. So, is there anything else that you want to chat about before we kind of wrap up?
I think that's all we got for today.
Awesome. All right. Well, again, if you have information about any of these cases, you can contact Lincoln Crime Stoppers. Those tips can remain anonymous. So, Jared, thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks for having us in.
Yeah, absolutely. So stay tuned to our website, follow us on all our social media, and download our Roku app for the latest news of the day. From our newsroom to wherever you are, we'll see you on the next stream.
1011 News is everywhere. Download our smart TV apps and follow us on social media at 1011 News.